All right, friends, with potluck season and spring just right around the corner, I thought today would be the perfect time to jump back into our church cookbooks. A few of y'all might remember we did so many church cookbook recipes a couple years ago. Y'all loved them. We loved them, so today we're bringing them back. And today we're gonna start with 3 classic kind of essential church cookbook recipes, but each one of these recipes has a little unique twist in there that I'm so excited to give a try. Y'all, let's head back into these church cookbooks and try out some of these delicious recipes. So to start our squash casserole, we're actually gonna pre-cook our squash. We're just gonna add it to a big skillet here, or you can use just a big pot, whatever. And to this, we're also gonna add half of a chopped onion. To that, I'm gonna add a sprinkle of salt and some fresh black pepper. And now to cook these up, we're just gonna add just enough water to cover everything. It's just kind of eyeballing it, depending on how many squash and onions that you use. That is probably almost enough. So I have my stove a little bit over medium, and we're just gonna continue to cook the squash and onions together until our squash soften up. Our squash and onions are soft. Get a little steam facial while you do it. So I'm just gonna drain these, and one thing I really like to do with my squash casserole anytime is really just push out all of that water, because we're gonna be adding some liquid anyway here in a minute, and we don't want it to be watery. So we just want to drain this really, really good. All right, our squash and onions have been drained really well. I just put them back into the pan. So now we're gonna add just a little bit of seasoning. I've told y'all before, that's one thing about these church cookbooks, they really don't call for a whole lot of seasoning. I'm just using some of this Dano's. I've showed it before, but I really love this seasoning. Not sponsored, because it doesn't have a lot of salt in here. It just has a lot of flavor. There's garlic, onion, what does it say, lemon, orange. It does have a little bit of salt, mustard seed, lots of good stuff in here. So let's just give a little sprinkle, and it goes pretty much with everything. Next to our squash mixture, we're gonna add 1 can of cream of chicken soup. I feel like this part is pretty basic so far, but y'all just wait. I want y'all to let me know if y'all ever made it with this next ingredient, or not the next one, but here in just a second. I have never made it with this, but looking through all these church cookbooks, I noticed this ingredient in like tons of the squash casserole, so I wanted to try it. We're also gonna add 1 cup of sour cream. All right, so now we're just gonna give everything a mix. All right, let's move that to the side. So next, I've just melted 1 stick of butter, and to that comes in our kind of unique ingredient. I have never added stuffing mix to my squash casserole, but it just sounds delicious. I love stuffing mix, especially this Pepperidge Farm. So we're gonna add about half of this bag in here, maybe a little bit more than half. I'm just gonna use my same little spatula, and we're just gonna stir this stuffing mix around with our butter. And this stuffing mix is another ingredient that I've noticed so much in church cookbooks. And I think when a lot of these church cookbooks were written, this was, I don't know if it was a new product, a new item, but it was a popular one for sure. It's in so many different things. Normally on top of my squash casserole that's actually in my cookbook, we use just buttered Ritz crackers. So this part is a little bit unique as well. We're actually gonna put all of our stuffing breadcrumbs in the bottom of our dish. And Darren and I were just talking, this is a really good idea, especially if you've ever had a squash casserole and you haven't got it drained. It could be a little bit watery. I think this is like genius, because it's basically just gonna help soak up all that moisture, and then you're just gonna be left with that delicious, perfectly cooked squash. Now we're just gonna bring over our squash mixture, get it on top as well. All right, let's get this spread out in here. Y'all, this already looks so good. I'm so excited. And lastly, right on top, we're gonna add some sharp cheddar cheese. I already cannot wait to make this for spring and summer. This would be a good side dish, in my opinion, with anything. So I about used this whole bag, which was about 2 cups of cheese. All right, y'all, I have the oven on 350. This is going in there for about 30 to 40 minutes until we're hot and bubbly. Y'all know the drill. All right, y'all, our squash casserole is bubbly and hot and looks and smells absolutely delicious. I cannot wait to give this a try. Let's plate this up. Cheesy, oh my gosh, that stuffing on the bottom gives a little bit of crunch. If this does not scream church cookbook, church potluck, homecoming, I don't know what will, friends. Y'all, look how good that looks. That crunch is everything in a casserole like this. Got those squash, so much flavor going on in here. Figured we would bring our taste test back for the day. All right, let's try it. This is not liquidy at all. It's perfectly cooked. Oh my gosh. Let's get some of that cheese, some of that squash, get a little bit of everything. Cheers, y'all. Oh my gosh. That is heavenly. No pun intended for church cookbooks. That is so good. I think that's gonna be my title. Heavenly Church Cookbook Recipes. That is so good. I love that Pepperidge Farm stuffing mix in there. Like I said, if you have not tried this, let me know down in the comments if you're thinking about trying it, but if you have tried it, let me know what your thoughts are as well. I'm gonna bring Darren in here to try this. This is so good.
Let me try it.
I think from now on, I do like the Ritz topping. Like I said, that one is in my cookbook, so I am kind of partial to that, but I'm gonna have to put this one on my rotation for sure. All right, here's Mr. Brugger Repeat. Everybody say, hey, Mr. Brugger Repeat.
Hey, y'all.
All right, try it and see what you think. I'm eating more.
That is perfect. And that's so good. It's cheesy, creamy.
A little bit crunchy.
A little crunchy.
Has the
10.
seasonings in there.
10 out of 10.
I love it. Perfect.
Good job.
Y'all try this. So first things first, we're gonna add some butter to our skillet here. We're gonna saute our onions and celery. I'm only adding a half a stick of butter. The recipe I'm going by in this church cookbook calls for a whole stick, but I think we can get by with just half a stick. Plus this, what you see in here is the pan we cooked our bacon in. So I just left it. We got the grease out of there, but all that's gonna do is add more flavor. So to that, like I said, we're just gonna add our chopped onion. We're also gonna add some chopped celery. All right, I'm just gonna give this a stir, and we're just gonna let this butter melt down and let our celery and onion saute just until they start to become opaque. Alrighty, our celery and onions are nice and sauteed. Smells so good, it's my favorite smell. All right, I'm just gonna mix everything in my pan. This is about 2 cups of already cooked rice, and this is just minute rice. We just cooked it right in the microwave. We're gonna add it in. We're also gonna add in, this is just 1 bag of frozen broccoli that we thawed out, and I did go ahead and cook mine just to make sure it's cooked, and we went ahead and chopped it all up. We're gonna add 1 can of cream of mushroom soup. We're also gonna add in 1 gin cup of shredded sharp cheddar cheese. We're gonna go ahead and give this a stir. So this recipe also calls for some water, but I'm gonna go ahead and stir mine together and just see if I think it needs it. Some of those buttery veggies all stirred in. So this is broccoli rice and cheese casserole. Normally my broccoli casserole is just broccoli and cheese, but one ingredient, and I think I've mentioned this to y'all before in a ton of church cookbooks in the broccoli casseroles, is Cheese Whiz. And I think that was another thing that was kind of popular when a lot of these church cookbooks were written. So y'all let me know if you've ever made broccoli casserole with Cheese Whiz. And I still have got to try that for myself. Haven't tried it yet, so if you have, let me know how that is. All right, so I am indeed gonna add in that water. Not quite all of it. Give it another little stir. All right, for this one, kind of the same deal. I'm gonna use some salt-free dash. This is just the onion and herb. Just gonna give it a little sprinkle in there, because why not? This time I am gonna just use a smaller baking dish. This recipe says it makes 6 servings. Although this looks like a good bit to me, I'm gonna go ahead and give her a little spray. All right, let's get into the baking dish. Spread everything out evenly. And the oven is already on 350, and this just goes in there for about 30 minutes. While we're waiting on that broccoli rice casserole to cook, I just want to chat with y'all for a minute because I don't know what it is about a church cookbook. There's just something about them that just makes you just feel good. The recipes in there, how they're written, maybe it's just the recipes from like everybody in the community, but I also think it's so cute and funny how sometimes the instructions are completely left off, sometimes an ingredient is left off, which remind me to tell y'all a story about that in a minute. But there's just something about that personal recipe that you just know that little Betty who sits on the fourth pew at church put in that cookbook. Y'all, I saw one recipe and one when we were flipping through them, and it was 2 ingredients. It was, I think, a stick of butter and a can of biscuits. And it literally said, take your canned biscuits, open them up, dip them in the butter, and then bake them. But in the instructions, it said to serve on a fancy platter with a fancy linen over top. And to me, that just sums up church cookbook recipes. Like, it's not all about the ingredients or the way you make it. It's really all about the love behind it. I know that's so cliche, and the presentation. So I just love that. But yeah, y'all remind me to tell you the story about the missing ingredient another day. Our broccoli casserole is done. Again, it smells incredible. But let's give this a try. This looks so good. Oh my gosh, this looks delicious. Looks cheesy, has that rice in there with the broccoli. I think this is gonna be another good one. Alrighty, y'all, I'm the only one gonna taste test this recipe, but let's give it a try. Y'all, that is delicious. Oh my gosh. I don't know if y'all could hear, but the celery still had a little bit of a crunch to it, which I actually really liked. Also, I really like the flavor of that onion and celery in there with the broccoli. Love that. Of course, the rice just gives it a little bit of a different texture. Can't go wrong with cheese. This is another really good one. Let me know if you've ever tried a recipe similar to this. And again, let me know if you've tried that broccoli and cheese whiz casserole. That's kind of next on my list. All right, next up, y'all, we have a grits casserole. This sounds delicious. It's kind of like an all-in-one breakfast. Has eggs, cheese, bacon, of course, grits. Let's put this together. So first, I have about 10 cups of water. And this recipe is obviously gonna make a ton. It makes about 10 to 12 servings. So you could easily cut this in half. I'm sure we're gonna share some of this recipe, but I'm gonna bring 10 cups of water to a boil. I'm gonna go ahead and add just a little bit of salt. Next, I'm just gonna add 2.5 cups of grits. And these are just the 5-minute cooking grits. And all I'm doing right now is cooking these according to the package directions, but the recipe, it does say to make your grits a little bit soupy. So that's what we're going for. All right, so I'm just gonna mix everything in this pot. I already added some salt while they were cooking, so now I'm gonna add some black pepper. I'm also gonna add in, this is about 10, maybe 9 slices of cooked crumbled bacon because we've been snacking a little bit. We're also gonna add in some melted butter. Next, we're gonna add in some beaten eggs. And as you can see, I did leave the grits just a little bit soupy. Not runny or anything, but just a little bit soupy than I would normally like. Because after these bake up, they will thicken up. We're also gonna add in about 1.5 cups of cheese. And yes, that is definitely a theme with today's video. If you don't like cheese for today, I'm so sorry. Leave me a comment down below or give me some cheese-free ideas I could share with y'all. Over here, I just have my 9x13. We're gonna get it transferred in there. And last but not least, we're just gonna sprinkle about 1/2 cup of cheese on top. This would be a perfect recipe to take to like a brunch, any type of breakfast potluck. All right, y'all, the oven is still preheated to 350. This is just going in there for 20 to 25 minutes. And I did want to tell you the recipe has a note in there that you can use sausage instead of bacon. I think that would be really good as well. Our grits casserole is done. It looks fabulous, looks so good. All right, let's serve these up. See how nice and thick they got. After baking, they look perfect. Let's give these a try. Get a little bit of that cheese, some of that bacon. Y'all, these look amazing. Perfect for any breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Alrighty friends, don't forget to say hello in the comments. Let me know that you stopped by today, and let me know if you've tried any of these recipes or maybe you have a variation of your own. Also for today, since we're looking forward to spring, leave your favorite spring flower emoji down in the comments. I would love to say hey to y'all. Can't wait to chat with y'all. There's another video right here on the screen if you're in the mood for seconds. I'll see you guys over there, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye y'all.